Our next guest runs a food and media empire, can give us her unique thoughts on consumer spending, food trends this holiday season, and so much more. Joining us right now is Lidia Bastianich. She's a restaurateur, of course, the Emmy Award-winning TV host and best-selling author. Her latest PBS special, 25 Years with Lidia, Culinary Jubilee. It premieres Monday, December 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And let's just wish you a happy, happy anniversary. 25 years is a remarkable thing, Lidia.
Oh, I had a good time. Every year was a great year. I just loved being there, you know. I love to communicate with people.
Okay, I want to talk about the restaurant business and business, but I was actually thinking to myself, what business do you think you're in? Because I think of you as somebody as a restaurateur, an entrepreneur, somebody who's in the kitchen, but then you're making stuff, you're hosting stuff. When you think about like the business that is Lidia, what is it?
It's a wonderful business to be. She had a great life, Lidia. She still has. She loves every minute of it. 50 years in the restaurant business. So I began. It's sort of a crescendo of connecting with the American public, connecting with them first with the restaurant. And of course, they came into my restaurants. We saw each other there. Then I got the opportunity to go on PBS. Julia Child gave me that sort of opportunity. She took me on with her. And of course, the books. So it's a process of feeding people, cooking for them in every single step, but in the other steps that come, I teach as well. Not only do I have my restaurants, I have products. You know, they can buy my sauce, Lidia sauce, so they can take it at home. They can cook from my books. They can watch me. So it's kind of a teaching, relating to you know, I'm an immigrant. I came here, I was 12 years old, and I appreciate so much the opportunity that my family and I had here in America.
What is the biggest change you've seen over that period about the way the American consumer interacts with you, whether it be in the restaurant, meaning how people order, what they order, how they spend? I mean, I assume you've seen a big shift over this period of time, just in how people relate to food and how they consume food.
Absolutely. There's a consciousness, a growth of consciousness to food and knowledge about food, whether it be cultural. I am ethnic Italian, and Italian, I think, is one of the #1 ethnic foods in America. So I was kind of privileged in that aspect. And the people out there loved Italian food. So my first restaurants, and you know what? People really out there perceived kind of a home setting, the genuine cooking. I always cooked the traditional Italian food. And so they followed me through, but they become ever more informed and intelligent. The regional, when I opened Lidia, I opened my first one in '71 in Queens. Then I opened Lidia in '81. And when I opened Lidia, I said, well, the first ones was Italian-American food. It was Italian food that was food of the Italian immigrants. Wonderful food. It's still out there. It's very popular. Actually, I think it's growing back in popularity. But when I went to Lidia, I decided to do the regional food of Italy, 20 regions.
I want to ask you two other questions. I want to talk about inflation, cost of food, big issue. And then I was on TikTok last night just looking around, and I was looking you up. There's people in your restaurants. Everybody's Instagramming their food. Then I realized they're actually Instagramming their food at home from your cookbook, and how that's changed the business.
I just love it. First of all, because I am part of their life, but the business has changed, especially now. People are very conscious. They're very conscious. Right after the pandemic, they were gang-ho, let's go out, let's spend, let's relive life. But now they're watching the economic situation. They're going out, maybe more in numbers, but spending less. That big bottle of wine is no longer, on the table. I think, a quote I noticed, hand food is in. What does that mean? Like sandwiches, like hamburgers, rather than steak, knife, and fork food.
So they're trading down cheaper stuff.
They are. But they're not forfeiting quality and nourishment. Very informed, today's public. So, if you're a restaurateur or in the food business, you need to be very conscious that the public is almost ahead of you. They know what they want.
But the first item to go is the wine, you're saying? Because that was always the highest margin. Wasn't that always the highest margin piece of the bill?
It is, you know, the wine, the drinks, but even the drinks are going down. You know, instead of the martinis, the Manhattans, the spritzers are in. You know, spritz is lighter, maybe you can have one extra, and it costs less. But yes, absolutely. You know, because value in food in America is perceived by the proteins. The size of the protein, the larger the steak, the larger that chop, the better value you get. And, you know, in comparing to the Italian, the protein is about 1/3 of the dish. In America, the protein has to be at least 2/3 of the dish for the Americans to consider, oh, I got a good value. But
that's interesting.
Yeah, but that has to change because also nutritionally, it makes all sense. And what, as restaurateurs, as chefs, have to really focus is on the contorno, on the vegetables, on the legumes. Make them tasty, make them wonderful. They cost less. The profit margin is larger if you diminish the proteins and increase. And the customer is just as happy, maybe even happier, because they're conscious about their nutrition today.